Howdy folks, this is Justro at Metcalf Mills. I got a little video for you today. Mike, if you remember Mike that come down, him and Danny come down to help me band them millstones a while back. Well, Mike come and paid me a visit the other day and brought me some goodies, and I wanted to share that with you and some of the things that he brought me. So I hope y'all enjoy it. I'll probably just carry them over here in front of the camera and show them.
Homemade things, you don't have to.
I want to show that for sure, that thing that you made there. Charlotte, will you move out, baby? You can't, I don't want you in this right now, okay? With me moving these cradle blades around, I don't want you around to get cut, okay? Mike brought me down some awesome stuff today, and I just wanted to share that with you and show you what he brought. And this right here is one of my most favorite things. It's a real interesting piece. And what it is to take a sample, like if you've got a bin of grain or a box of grain or whatever, you can stick this probe down in there all the way down to the handle. And it's got these little cavities right here, and the grain will go in these cavities and fill them up. Well, when they get filled up, then you turn the handle and it closes off, and you pull them out and lay this thing down and open it up, and you've got samples out of all the different spots in that bin, and you can look at that grain and see what's going on with it. Maybe check moisture, make sure it's not getting moldy, anything like that. But it's really neat, and it looks like it's made out of brass or some kind of, yep. And it's made by Dean Gamut Manufacturing Company, Minneapolis, Minnesota. And right here it's got an O and a P, and that'd be the open position when you turn it over there where the O and the P is showing up. So this is just an amazing piece right here to me. I've never seen anything like it. So.
Regular old ring.
Yeah. This is another, just like Mike said, a regular old grain cradle, kind of like the one I used. It's in better shape than that old one I had. It collapsed and folded up on me. This right here is going to be something real interesting for you. Have you got any idea on who made this style or where they come from?
I've seen two before.
Mike's only seen two of this kind before, and I don't know that I've ever seen one of it, but it's a grain cradle, but it's got these little tiny dowels that hold, instead of the fingers, it's got these dowels, and it's got a bigger wooden frame around it. It's a little bit heavier to use, but I can see how it would really cradle the grain right here on these little dowels. So it's a real neat piece for sure. If these dowels get broke like that one, you can just slip them out and slip a new one in. Maybe this would hold up a little better than the fingers on the cradle. I don't know, because I broke one the other day when I was cradling. But that's a real interesting piece.
Needs repairs.
Yeah. And this right here is one of my favorites. This right here is one of my favorites. It's a European style scythe. And it's got a grass blade on it, so with this setup you can mow your yard with this baby. And we're going to try that sometime when we have time. But instead of the handles, the main handle is not so bent, and it's got this extension up here and a handle back here. Now you made this, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Mike made this whole setup. So it's got a good, what do you call this piece that holds the blade on? I don't know.
Clamp, I guess.
Yeah. It's got a good, like a clamp block right here that Mike put on there to hold that blade in place, and it don't move at all. So that's a real nice setup, and I'm looking forward to using this. I used it a little bit over here on the side, and it cuts like it's supposed to. Small grass, it cuts really well. So I'm looking forward to trying that thing out. I'm gonna show them this, and you adapted.
Yeah. Shorter and lighter weight, so I can,
Yeah.
for an old man.
Now folks, this cradle, if you'll notice, it's a lot smaller. The blade's shorter, the fingers are shorter, and it's got this altered handle here like the European style. And in Mike's words, he made this to accommodate an old man. So it's not as big, it's easier to use. Take a smaller swipe each time, and it's lighter weight. So
You don't have to bend over.
yeah, you don't have to bend over so far. But I thought it was really neat. I've never seen one scaled down like this. Mike done a real good job on it, and I imagine it'll work really well. And it's way lighter to use than those others. Really neat. Let's see. Now it's time for the big boy.
You gonna leave her on it and pick her up?
Now folks, if you can see this, it's a piece of steel that starts out about a 2-inch square, and it's got a crowbar point, and it comes up and starts getting round right here, and it goes down to, you probably can't see, but down to almost nothing at the top.
10 foot long.
10 foot long. Mike brought me this, and I'm gonna let him tell us about where it come from and what it was used for.
Well, me and Danny salvaged that from an old shop at a granite quarry, and there were 3 of them, 2 that size and 1 even bigger, which is 12 foot long. And I guess the bottom part was 3 or bigger, and Danny has it for big stuff.
Yeah, gosh.
It took 2 of us to load it.
So this is the medium-sized bar y'all got.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I got some smaller ones.
Yeah.
6 foot tall.
Yeah. But this is amazing. This thing was used to move huge granite blocks around. And we're going to try it out and see just what we can do with it. That's going to be fun. You going up a hill, Shar? Okay. All right, baby. Let's see. You want to move that block up to the right just a little bit so it'll be more in the center of them stones?
I don't know if you can get it under there.
All right, we'll stab this thing in there maybe. That's all right. We'll adjust it if we need to. So folks, these 2 millstone blanks right here, I was told when I got them, the bottom one weighs around 3,500 pounds. The top one weighs around 2,800 to 3,000. So we're going to use this big granite pry bar, put it under here on this block of locust wood, and we're going to prise and see what happens. So total here, that would be raising up, not lifting, but raising up the edge of about 6,000 to 6,500 pounds. I don't know what that would, if it would be half that, only raising up one edge, but I know it's a lot of weight, and my little traco, my little machine won't lift one side of it, so that's going to tell us something about what this bar can do. We're going to put it under there. That's a pretty good lift, folks. Pretty good lift on the big stones. What about that? And that was easy. I didn't even have to strain.
It'll hold up one by itself.
So that's one way people moved heavy objects without using their back. What about that? So there it is, folks. That's what you call a big bar. And here's that end I was talking about. You can see how they tapered it down to almost nothing. Folks, I wanted to give y'all a good view of this bar that Mike brought me right here. I got it laid out here on the patio here at the shop. The end of this thing, you can see it's got kind of a, let me come around here. It's got kind of a curve right here. And this would be the lifting side that I use, this point right here. So this side would be up and this side would be down. And this thing's made out of a piece of steel. It's about a 2-inch square. You can see how they've shaped the end of it like a prizing bar. And it comes down to about right here. Probably down about close to 2 foot, 20 inches. And they knock the corners off. They beat them down to where it takes a rounded shape. And it starts tapering. And it tapers down about halfway. It's tapered down to about a little better than 1.5 inches. And it comes on down to this far end, and it comes down to a point. I guess that was to reduce weight. And they know that, looks like it had some red paint on it or orange paint at one time. Probably to keep from losing it. Yeah, in the rock quarry, I imagine you could lose a bar like this pretty easy in the rocks and stuff. But it tapers down. And I would think at this curve, it kind of curves like a rocking chair rocker right here, if you can tell. I imagine this curve would help, because if you got a dead straight bar, you're not going to be able to, if you've got a dead straight, because if you got a dead straight bar, you're not going to be able to, if that thing's stuck under something, it's going to be wanting to flop side to side on you if you ain't careful. So this curve in this end of this, if that was put there for a reason, and I think it was, I don't think the bar got bent that way. I think it was put there for a reason. I don't know, but I can tell by using it, it makes it a lot more comfortable to use when you start prizing. It don't want to flop side to side on you. So there it is, the big bar. What do you think about that bar, Penny? What do you think about that big bar? You like it? The big bar. Little tail and the big bar. Penny? But I tell you what, that's really something. And he said, Mike said he had a shorter one, and this is a medium one, and Danny's got a bigger one. I can't wait to see that big one. We're gonna go see Danny here before too long. Catch up on some stuff, so be looking forward to that. But that's a big bar, folks. Lifted way up in the thousands of pounds of millstones laying over here. Hey, Bear. Well, we had a real good time. I really enjoyed visiting with Mike, and I appreciate the goodies that he brought me. They'll be a big help. And I tell you, man, you meet good friends like that, and it's just such a blessing. And I don't remember exactly when it was. It's not been that long ago that I got to meet Danny and Mike. And man, I tell you, they've both been such a blessing to me. And I appreciate them. And what about that big bar lifting all that big heavy millstone weight? And I lifted it like it wasn't nothing. I mean, just I didn't even strain lifting that. So that gives you some insight into how they move things around in the olden days. Like this video if you will, subscribe to my channel, hit that notifications bell. Check us out on Patreon if you want to. That all goes to the new mill project. This is Justro at Metcalf Mills. I look forward to seeing you next time.